Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Picardian.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast, first one of 2025.
2025?
I know, it's pretty weird. I gotta say, it's a little bit weird. I think there's a lot of like that kind of stuff.
That was 25, the song.
Oh yeah.
In the year 25.
I don't know that.
Zager and Evans.
Oh yeah, them.
Yeah, those guys.
Okay, so we've got a fantastic guest. This is a four-peat. He's closing in on Jeff Schroeder here. I know, Jeff.
Do we have to
take note? You got some competition here.
Do we
buddy.
have to get another velvet jacket?
I know. Go ahead and introduce yourself, guest.
Hello, everyone. This is John Sanchez with WGS, All Pedal, Amperian, and Fortin Amplification.
You're a busy guy.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm very fortunate. Yes.
So I think a lot of people. Well, actually, let's not assume anything, John.
All right.
We'll actually get into all the things that you're going to cover. We're going to speak specifically tonight about the Amperian product that you so graciously let us check out for the Vox Amplification Shootout, the Speaker Shootout, rather.
Yes.
And so, we want to find out more about that because for a lot of people, that was like, wait, what? Who's this? What?
May I?
Please, Tony. Pew, pew. Pew, pew, yes. That's Tony's favorite part, the shootout. So yes, we're gonna. That's what the show's about. We're going to learn about Amperian speakers and what makes them so special and different, and all those good things, and also just get a little bit more enlightenment from the speaker builder. Why these alnico speakers are different in different ways and all those things.
Yes.
And John's worked across the industry and beyond WGS, correct?
Yeah, I started at Alto Music in New York, and I was there about 6 years. And then I went to the Celestion distributor, Group 1 in Long Island, and I was there just over 5 years. And then I worked for Celestion for a number of years, and I've been with WGS since 2017, I think. And All Pedal is the pedal division. We do contract manufacturing. So if you're a pedal builder and you need to scale up manufacturing, or you got a design you'd like to introduce to the market, you call us and we help you. We help you do that.
Yeah.
And additional brand is Amperian. That's something that after a number of years after WGS established themselves as an American hand-built alternative to the big name British manufacturer, we wanted to do something that was original, that didn't reference any current or past competitor models. And our production manager, Dean Birdsong, he's been building speakers for I think it's like 34 years or something like that. He was at Credence, which was another manufacturer in Kentucky. And he and his wife, Tana Birdsong, do everything by hand. So the motor structures are all built by hand, and the soft parts are dropped in. And there's no factory automation. So it's pretty much those two. And Dean has a couple other people in the factory that help him out.
Fantastic. Well, we'll be digging into this a little bit further into the episode. Thank you for the brief outline on what you're all about.
Sure.
At least the nickel version of that.
Right.
We've got quite a few things to get through for fun. It's going to be a good time. Tony, welcome back.
Oh, welcome back.
Yes. you came back.
I did.
That's great.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Even after New Year's.
I know, yes. So just a couple of announcements real quick, everybody. We have a big winner. So we just recently had Huntington Audio Labs on.
Oh, yes.
And they... that was a great episode. We had so much fun talking with him, and he gave us quite a few things to check out and to talk about, and he graciously said, I think these would make a real nice gift for a listener. And Ralph Gottschalk, You are the winner. Yes. So
excellent.
And by this point, some people may have seen the Instagram post for this. Not sure. We'll see. But he's going to get a super pack. It's got all kinds of good stuff in it.
Well, if you remember, the two pedal builders that we had on our show were like drooling.
They were clamoring
They
over
were
it.
drooling over
Clamoring.
They were clamoring and drooling over the bits and pieces that were in the little packs. So
yeah, really cool stuff.
Ralph's going to love this.
Yes, indeed. And so... Anyways, he's getting a nice little package to help build his pedals, and he's got something new in the works.
What?
I know. Very, very exciting. So congratulations, Ralph, and thank you for supporting our show. We truly appreciate it. Also, hey, everybody, hoodies
What about
are coming.
I haven't seen the hoodies yet.
Well, I didn't want to do it right before Christmas because, first of all, we had two pedals that we were, letting people purchase. And
these are the biker jacket hoodies, right, with the extra zippers.
Yes, no, it's not. It's it's gonna be zip front, black with the logo. It's not like, oh my gosh, what's this hoodie? It's just our hoodie. So the supporters of the show will be notified. Mm-hmm. And if you're interested in this, just shoot me an email and say, hey, I want a hoodie too.
What's your email?
It's Todd@theguitarknobs.com.
How convenient.
I know. So anyways, and pricing is going to work out depending on how many we get,
$1 million.
But it's not going to be ridiculous. So, and all we're going to charge on top of that is just for shipping. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's the cost. We're not getting a dime off it. All right. And I think that's... Oh, wait, no.
More?
Yes, we've got, we're on the cusp of NAMM. And we just had the CEO of NAMM on, and, he personally invited us, so Rob and I are going.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, Tony, you didn't get the invite.
Yeah, well, after I insulted him, I guess.
That's a shame, Tony.
No.
Yeah.
I couldn't go this year. I'm so mad.
Yes. Well, and you got a bum knee right now, too, a little bit.
Well, yeah. After I get my artificial limbs, I guess we'll be okay.
Yes. So, anyways, we are going to be looking for people to connect with. So please let us know. We'll be there walking around and seeing everybody, and it's going to be great fun.
Yeah.
And Rob may actually like a few things.
Yes.
Maybe.
Are you bringing the life-size cardboard cutout of me this time?
No.
Oh.
No, I don't have a trailer.
Oh.
All right. So that's it. What's going on in our music worlds this week, gentlemen? Tony, you're going to go ahead and kick us off, and then we're going to check in with John.
Okay, I can do that. I've got a lot of stuff, but I boiled it down to just two.
Okay.
Our good friend, Bruce Bacon.
Yes.
Provided a lovely surprise for Baloney Claus.
Yes.
In the form of a Lego Strat kit.
Yes.
Which hasn't been built yet.
Uh-huh.
But when I do, I'm going to bring it in and we're going to make a picture of it.
I like that. That sounds really cool.
Now, this kit has two options. You can make a black Strat or you can make a red Strat.
Can't you make it mixed?
No, I don't believe so. You got one or the other.
Okay.
So I think we should have a poll out there as to...
You could do a burst.
You cannot do a burst. They don't make bursted Legos.
Okay, all right.
Jeez. So I think we should have a little poll out there amongst the listeners with whether it should be built as a black Strat or a red Strat.
I guarantee you I will get at least one person.
Okay. That's the tiebreaker.
Tony,
then.
go ahead and first of all, it's a Strat, so
Yeah.
But
it's a Lego Strat,
it is
and it comes with a little amp, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. That was very thoughtful of
Thank
Brucey.
you, Bruce. That was. I mean, Todd brought it over, and I was just shocked. I was gobsmacked.
He was gobsmacked.
Yes.
All right.
I have one other thing.
Oh, God.
I said I boiled it down to two, Todd.
Okay.
So my good friend Jeff took a roll of the dice, and there was a guy in England by the name of Harry White makes...
That sounds made up.
That's what he is. I mean, that's what his name is. That's what he's called.
Ari White.
He's called Ari.
Ari White.
So Ari makes obscure, how shall we say, Rickenbacker-ish copies.
Okay.
And Jeff had requested him to make something comparable to like a 58 or a 59 Capri, which looks similar to like a 330, 360 that we know and love, except it's thicker.
Okay.
And it has an elongated sound hole.
Oh.
So if you go back, just type in
See a doctor about that.
1958 or 1959 Rickenbacker Capri, and you'll see what this is.
Okay.
But so Jeff brought it over. He wasn't happy with the pickups that were in it, and he ordered a set of Creamery pickups, which are also from the UK.
Yeah.
And he attempted to put them in himself, and there was just something wrong in the wiring harness. I said, Jeff, we're just going to start from scratch.
Yeah.
So I just made a new wiring harness for it, hooked everything up. It's a really nice guitar. And, And for
what color is it?
It's what would be called an autumn glow, so it's kind of a brownish sunburst. It's a beautiful instrument.
Okay.
I got it set up so that it plays really nicely.
Real nice, Clark.
Real nice, Clark. And I mean, the Creamery pickups are nice. They're a little hot for my taste. So they're, if you turn the volume down a little bit, it works. I would probably go with a different set of pickups. But man, I was impressed for what this is and the construction methods.
What's this chap's name again?
His name's Harry White.
And it's Harry White Guitars?
Well, you can only get a hold of him on through Facebook.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, that's how Jeff did it.
All right.
And they worked out a deal on this thing.
Okay. Well, we know it's legit now, so anybody that's interested, that's how you do it.
Yeah. Just look up Harry White on the Facebook.
Yeah. Work on that one a little bit.
Boop.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's
lovely.
anyhow, yes.
Perfect.
I loved it.
All right. John, how about yourself?
Yes. What's that?
What is going on in your music world this week?
In my music world. So I am the sales manager for WGS and Amperian. So we deal a lot with distributors and OEMs. With the Amperian side, I have been testing some new Neo speakers. We're going to be coming out with a lead spec and a 55 hertz. Initial prototypes have been really good. It's a custom basket design. Comes in just under 5 pounds. Really responsive, very articulate, huge voicing. We're a little late to the whole Neo market, but we think people are really going to respond well to these. We think they're going to do well with typical tube amps and the whole new wave of digital substitutes that are out there that people are really using instead of the tube amps.
Now, I have to say, I have not had good experiences with neodymium speakers.
Neither have I. I mean, when I was at Celestion, they had the first Neo I had played was the Century.
Yes.
And it was really powerful, very responsive, but it was just so bright. It wasn't a full-bodied voicing.
It had no soul.
It really didn't. No, it was just so mechanical and harsh.
Yeah.
And then they came out with the cream one, and that was much more balanced and much closer to what people are familiar with ceramic. And this also has those same properties where it feels like just like a high performance ceramic driver, and it has that sound as well.
Right. And for those that may not be as familiar with neodymium or the neodymium speaker, can you give a brief elaboration on?
Sure. It's a rare earth material. It's very powerful, very lightweight. You don't need a lot of it in a speaker. It greatly reduces the weight of the speaker without compromising the power and efficiency. So you get a great deal of SPL, but it does take some extra effort to really get a warm, flattering voicing for the electric guitar.
Fair play. Interesting. Okay.
What about you, Todd?
I spent a lot of time actually having fun just pairing up different. I got the Tony Baloney pedal.
Yep.
And figured out where I like the settings. I like it in front of another drive pedal. Mm-hmm. Not so much. It doesn't fit my style of playing. Just having it on its own. So my recent 3 pairings that I'm kind of like going, ooh, what do I like? What do I push? What do I change? What do I tweak? Is the Thneed from Super Cool.
Oh, I remember the Thneed.
Yeah, that's a great sounding pedal, and so I have it going in, and I'm setting the Tony Baloney out like it says sparkle drive, but I'm actually kind of toning the tone down so that it's a little bit warmer going in, because the 3 pedals that I have here can be very bright. The Thneed included on the bright end of that.
Yeah.
And I also have the Schnobeltone Daily Driver.
I remember that one too.
Great pedal, really versatile. But on its own, it sounded great. When I put the Tony Baloney in front of it, I was like, oh, hello. There's the extra body. There's a warmth in it, and a little bit more mid, but just more.
Yeah, more bottom end.
Yeah.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Yeah, but not being like just like a whomping bottom end. It was like more like lower mids, I'd say, around there.
Yeah.
And then also the Talon Dual Drive. So,
yeah.
I was running that into all 3 of those, and those are similar pedals actually.
I could see. I would agree with you.
Yeah. They don't function the same at all.
Right.
But they and by that I mean the knobs and what's on tap for EQ and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're all very different, and they too truly sound differently, but they are of the same ilk.
Mm-hmm.
So the Tony Baloney is doing a great job of rounding those pedals out a little bit and making it, I think, just a little bit more pleasing.
Have you tried it with grilled onions and
I knew
cheese?
you were gonna. If you weren't gonna say something like that, I was. So thinking of the same thing.
It's delicious.
Yeah, I did want to find out. Did either of you two get any like real awesome guitar gifts, music gifts from Santa Claus?
No, last year I got an RC 600, and I have a 2-year-old. So, needless to say, I've hardly touched that thing. It is so complex, and there's so much in that little box. But this year I didn't get much of anything but a headache.
but a headache, right?
Yeah, I didn't. The closest to guitar related stuff I got was the LP from. Joel
Patterson.
Joel Patterson, thank you.
Yeah.
I went blank for a second.
Yes, we had a little gifty poo exchange in here.
Yeah,
that was pretty nice.
Yeah,
you got me a guitar book.
Yes.
Fender.
Yes.
Really cool stuff. And
the book that launched 1,000 projects, as I said.
Indeed, yes. Great book. Anyways, okay. Well, you know what?
What?
We recently had our tremolo 4 on the floor. Yes. And what did we say was a huge component in the success of this, Tony?
And success of the pedal board?
Yes.
I would say it would be the Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
I think you're right. We had quite a variety of them, different lengths, all different
shapes.
Like shapes.
Because some of these go to the side, some to the top.
Yep.
Yeah,
C-shape, S-shape, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 inch, all the things.
You got all the inches.
And, so if you are looking for a better solution for your patch cable needs,
yes,
I would highly recommend Tour Gear Designs patch cables. Absolutely fantastic.
Stop the spaghetti.
Stop the madness. Yes. And you don't stop paying so dang much for patch cables, people. These are super affordable and even made more so because of our super duper coupon. When you get a whole bunch of these in your cart, you go over there and you get the coupon code. Once you go through, yes, I'm going to go for it.
Going to go to the checkout.
Go to the cart thing, and then you get the coupon thing, and you put in
the guitar knobs.
Yes.
All lowercase, all one word.
All one word. You're going to save 15% on that order.
15%.
That is correct. And
Wow.
so we want to say a huge thank you to Tour Gear Designs for providing that for our listeners. That's just for you guys. All right? And that's I didn't even ask for that. They did that, and I think that's really cool. So thank you to Tour Gear Designs for sponsoring our 4 on the Floor. Tony?
Let me get a little bit of these.
1, 2, 3.
4 on the floor.
All right, John Sanchez of
Yes, sir.
WGS et al.
Et al.
And Amperian
I like
et
that.
al. Yes, that's a great word thing to use. It makes you sound smart. What is your 4 on the Floor? Part 3? I think this is your third one.
Is it my third?
I think it's your third because when you did it with David, I don't think he did that.
Right now, I'm using the all-pedal Jeff Loomis Essentials. That is the second Jeff Loomis signature product we came out with. Pretty much an amp in a box. Has very much like a heavily modded JCM 800 kind of thing with an added boost that really complements the full tone stack. Plenty of gain, lots of flexibility, and also the Fortin Natas, which was an amp he released. I think he had 50 pieces in 2013. And he did, a lot of people wanted to get a hardware version of that without having to spend $10,000 on an amp on the used market. So both have 2 completely distinct voicings and lots of flexibility, really mead sounding, and can do more toneful overdrive tones as well. And I like pitch shifters and fuzz. So still bouncing around between Russian big muffs and the Frantone and the black Russian big muffs with what's the other one? The Pog 2. I haven't gotten the Pog 3. I was hoping that would show up this Christmas, but no such thing. So.
No Pog for you.
Yeah, no Pog for me. And I think I said this last time. The DoD Rubberneck is still my go-to delay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I remember
got
that.
to try one of those recently. That was a cool
They're
pedal.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much in that little footprint, and Tom Cram and crew did a really great job with that.
That's awesome. Well, I know that folks are pretty familiar with the last 2 or 3 that you mentioned there, but going back to the Fortin Natas, that's not a pedal I'm super familiar with. You mentioned it's kind of an amp in the box. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. So yeah, Mike's known for doing these really high-end small batch releases, and this was, I think it was 2013. He did 50 pieces of this, and it's just a high gain monster. So it's got full tone stack, volume gain, and he has two features, the grind and girth. Girth obviously just thickens up the tone, really brings some of that low end and focuses it, and then the grind, which really kind of brings out some of the top end and pick attack and all that, those chugga artifacts that people like. So it's really. It's so responsive and really heavy sounding, but if you dial it back, it still gives you everything you want to hear from your guitar without being in that metal realm. Most players aren't really going to be buying it for that, but it does have those capabilities as well. But yeah, it came out in late 2023.
Okay,
so that was our last release. We got some stuff coming out in 2025 that people are really going to be excited about. But if you want a Fortin amp in a box, that's the one to get.
Okay. Nice. And where's Fortin out of?
All Pedal builds his products. So he's based in Canada, but we build all of his pedals.
I see.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He does his amps, but we do all of his pedals.
See? All pedals.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And then you also manufacture the Jeff Loomis. Tell us a little bit more about that one.
Yeah, so our graphic design guy, Patrick Valacat, has done a really good job of reaching out to certain artists. And he noticed that Jeff had purchased some stuff from us, an overdrive, the Slammer Eye. So he reached out to him and said, "Hey, if you really like it, let's see if we could do something." And the first product we came out with was the Triad, the Devil's Triad, which was gain, boost, delay, and reverb all in one box. And then that's been out for just over 2 years now.
Right.
And we wanted to do a follow-up product, and Jeff wanted something smaller and just basically the overdrive section and boost. So our talented circuit designer, Justin Simpson, went back and kind of redesigned the circuit. It's not identical to what's in the Triad. It's definitely a significant update. And in the traditional, what's called a 125B size, it's just the standard pedal size. You get volume gain, the full tone stack, and the boost, which is really unique because you have a pre-gain and a boost level, and all those features in that box really allow you to sculpt and get a really defined, focused high gain sound out of it. But again, it also has that flexibility with the boost and the tone stack to do much more than that if you're not really a metal guy.
Got it. And for those that don't know, Jeff Loomis is a guitarist for Nevermore, and had a few other type of things. I think it was
Arch Enemy, and did a collab with Keith Merrow. Mm-hmm. But I think they just announced Nevermore is going to be doing another record or something.
Excellent.
So a lot of people are really excited about that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's two that we are definitely not familiar with. So thanks. We always learn something new, and we always get to check out new things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's move on to our spotlight of the show, which is talking about the Amperian speaker. Now, in the episode that we just actually talked about, I think it was 2 episodes before this, where we did a review on the Speaker Shootout that's out on YouTube.
Yes.
And I actually chose that speaker to put in my Vox amp, and also going to put one in the AC30 2x12 to pair up with the greenback. So I'll be talking to you after this about that.
Bulk discount.
So I personally did that one. That's the one that did it for me. And I didn't have a lot of experience. I didn't have any biases going into the shootout. I know, Tony came in with a bit of a bias. I know Hex had a little bit of a Rob, certainly, because they just had more experience with him. I've never really had any kind of these, alnico speakers. So it was an interesting process for me to see, I guess, standing outside of those who know, and then also being in the midst of it. It was a unique experience. And one of the most important things that we talked about on that review was the difference between what you're hearing recorded. Those nuances are far smaller. They're not as pronounced, I don't think, as they are in a live situation. That's my own personal opinion, Tony.
Well, yeah, and I think that part of it is it depends on what you're listening to those recorded bits on.
Sure.
If you're listening through little computer speakers or a full-blown system or whatever. But
it flattens it out a little bit. It takes some of that natural,
But I agree that listening to them live was a far more telling sound.
John, that's one of the main things I wanted to ask of you, is that it seemed as though more so than typical like ceramic speakers, these ones, where you stood in front of it, what kind of box it was coming out of, it just seemed to have so much more impact on the actual sound. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to hear that. So it's when they wanted to do something new and something original. They were actually developing a line about 3 years before I was hired, and it was going to be branded something else. And because of trademark issues, they couldn't go with that whole endeavor. So they kind of put it on the back burner. They hired me, and we talked about it, and we picked it up again. And Dean already had some models done. And Dean Birdsong is our production manager.
Dean Birdsong, who was probably stuck in the snow pretty bad.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
he's supposed to be on the show, but hey, Dean, another time, we would love to talk to you.
So, speakers are especially now. It just feels a bit more challenging than it was, 15, 20 years ago to come out with something new. And I said, I'm not seeing any 55 hertz alnico. Let's start, developing something like that and see what happens. So they sent me a few prototypes, and when we got to, I think it was the third prototype, it was like, I think, this is it. It's full. It's got some of that alnico sparkle. It's really warm. You get the articulation, the pick attack. But it's its own unique voicing. It's familiar while still sounding and feeling new. So people, OEMs and artists that I've sampled that driver have had a similar response. It's like, this is great. This is a pleasure to play.
So you mentioned 55 hertz. Why is that what you were going for? And can you elaborate a little bit on why those numbers matter? Okay,
so that's the resonant frequency. It's a characteristic that influences the speaker's frequency range. It's the ability to produce treble and or bass effectively. So that rating will give you an indication of where that voicing is really going to be at its most flattering. So most drivers are 75 hertz. The few that are 55 hertz, you probably heard him on Jimi Hendrix recordings. He liked the Celestion G12H 55 hertz at times, but there aren't a lot of drivers that use that cone. And in an effort to do something different, we decided to go with that spec. Since alnico is already really bright and lively and has this harmonic complexity, we thought, well, let's see what this kind of resonant frequency will do with this magnet structure, and it turned out to work for the best.
I'm certainly glad that you did.
Me both.
Because I know one of the things that I struggle with, and especially telling people that don't necessarily know about guitars and stuff, and they. Who I got to go, watch the video to get us numbers, they're like, it's a speaker. How can this be that different? Now, this is the age-old discussion for many things. It's an overdrive. How can it be? It's a fuzz. There's only so many parts. How can it be different? It's guitar pickups. There's only so many parts. How can they be that different? They're speakers. There's only so many parts. How can they be that different? So I pose the question to you on the behalf of many who are still scratching their heads about that. Help us understand that a little bit more.
Sure. Okay. So
specifically with alnico.
Okay. The
alnico. Sorry.
Sure. Alnico also typically has a higher SPL, as where a typical medium weight magnet, a 35 ounce magnet that you'll find on our Green Beret or Celestion Greenback. That typically has a 97 dB SPL, and alnico is typically around 99 to 100 dB typically, and that 3 dB difference doesn't sound like much, but in volume, it actually is quite significant. Uh-huh. So you're going to get more volume, you're going to get more voicing with more dB, and you're going to get more response, more feel. It's going to be more revealing with your pick attack and your technique and how you approach the instrument.
Now, some of our listeners may not know what SPL means. Can you explain?
Sure, sound pressure level. It's the efficiency at which that speaker is moving some air. So a lower SPL, like 97 dB, something you're more familiar with a Green Beret or a Greenback, is it's the I don't know if I want to say traditional, but it is more of a typical SPL. The larger magnet drivers, like a Retro 30, the Veteran 30, those H magnet ceramic motors are also typically 99, 100 dB. And again, it's the same principle applies. If you take our Green Beret that has an M magnet, 97 dB, and you go to the Veteran 30, which is the H magnet, that 3 dB difference, even though it's still ceramic, it's going to give you more. That Veteran 30 is going to give you more of the voicing, more of the tone, more power than you would hear from the Green Beret.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Now, one of the other things that I personally noticed... I should
say more volume, not necessarily more power. The power handling comes from the voice coil. So
more knee buckling.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Exactly. One of the things that I noticed, specifically being just a little bit more familiar with, I have several of the WGS speakers in other amp cabinets and everything, and the doping on alnico speakers was much lighter across the board for all the ones that we were looking at. We actually had a Weber Blue Dog ceramic, which was dang near dipped in it. Comparatively, and we didn't use that one in the shootout. Unfortunately, there was a mix-up. It was supposed to be an alnico sent to us, but that's okay. We appreciate them sending it out. Can you do a little bit of explanation on why a ceramic speaker may have more of the doping, less on an alnico, and what exactly that doping does?
Sure. So the doping application isn't it is more about the durability, but in terms of how much is used, it's really about the voicing and the design. It's not necessarily contingent on which magnet material you're using. So the doping material can control the vibrations. It can strengthen that surround because that's an angle that connects to the basket, and then the angle slopes down. So that's a key fulcrum point of that cone. So it helps to strengthen it. It helps to control the vibrations and resonances, and ultimately you can dial in the voicing with the doping.
Right. And for those that might say, what the heck is doping, you guys? So doping is basically the black sort of shiny rubber application. If it's not rubber, don't throw rocks at me. It's not rubber, but when you look at it, it's like, hey, there's black rubber on here. I'm trying to, get it into a little bit more layman's territory.
The black shiny stuff around the outside perimeter.
Around the edges, yes. And maybe that's just because some of the speakers that I have that historically just have had a much tighter, and more responsive, bottom end to them. It's just something I noticed. I'm like, this is different. Why? Yeah,
well, so when I started with WGS, I noticed a lot of the British line had a good amount of doping on it. Some of the American stuff was a little bit lighter, and I've played some drivers that didn't have any doping at all, and it was interesting to A/B the same speaker. And the only difference was no doping, and you would hear some more highs. And for me personally, I didn't like the speaker that didn't have any doping, but I did like the difference of hearing the two. And I thought, well, let's try to meet in the middle, because that is something that real tone geeks they get into. Why is there so much doping? Some guys will take acetone and do a little wipe around their surround and remove some of the doping to try to get a little bit more movement out of it, and try to make the speaker sound a bit more lively.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that maybe we haven't covered here? Well, let me ask you this: how important is the weight of that magnet?
The weight of the magnet, yeah. So that really that really dictates how big of a voicing that driver is going to have, and keep in mind, bigger isn't necessarily better. There are some, some vintage smaller magnet drivers that just have this, cool ratty American garage thing that only those drivers can really produce. But it's really the amount of energy that driver can produce, that cone can get and push through, have that signal push through and give you the voicing of your instrument.
Right. The Amperian. I should mention. We're speaking specifically, at least I'm referencing the VSOP model from Amperian, and that one comes in at 40 ounces.
Yes,
and comparatively, the Fane, which was another one that people seem to like, is coming in at 35 ounces. And
was that the A60?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and that's the Fane Ascension A60.
Yes,
and that's one might look at that and say it's 5 ounces. Is that big? That is really that much of a deal?
Yeah, it can be. I mean, look at look at your experience with those two speakers. I mean, it's apples and oranges, but I'm sure you noticed a difference with the voicing, the feel, the efficiency, possibly. There are tricks that engineers can do. I mean, when you're building a speaker, even the amount of glue you're using to assemble the soft parts being the cone, voice coil, and the suspension, it will affect how that speaker performs, and it will affect the voicing. And it's a moving part. Right. So anything you're doing that is going to encourage or restrict that movement is going to affect that voicing.
Got it.
And the size of the magnet is one of those variables.
So with this one that I got, I would say one of the reasons that I specifically picked that, and we did the shootout, and I did mention this on the previous episode, but I thought talking with you, we might get a little bit better understanding of why I had this experience. I tried several different pedals. I put together a pedal board of some of my favorite pedals, and I had the Avatar convertible speaker cabinet that Avatar provided for us that was just outstanding. And when I brought that stuff home, I spent an entire weekend just swapping them in, swapping them out, swapping them in, swapping them out, and trying to be as blind of a listener as I could. And I think one of the most deciding factors that I found was this speaker, the VSOP, seemed to play nicely with more of my pedals than all the other speakers did. I don't know why. Maybe that's really not everything. I really don't know why. But honestly, when I came down to it, I'm like, this speaker sounds terrible with one of my favorite pedals that I know to be a good sounding pedal. This speaker sounds really hot. This speaker sounds real muddy, and I'm being extreme with those things to kind of just illustrate. Like this was the what's it? The Three Bears, the Goldilocks. It was the Goldilocks syndrome. Honestly, it was. Except I had four bears.
Toddylocks.
Yes, Toddylocks. It was the exact same thing. I was like, this one is just right. It didn't matter what was in front of it. It sounded good, and it sounded the same. And I didn't have harsh frequencies hitting me, and none of that stuff. And I don't know why that is, and I don't know if that's something that you can even explain. But I just thought I'd throw that out there.
No, sure. I mean, when we came out with this line, one of the things I said, and we all knew this, was the players today are more diverse than ever. I mean, I think all of the free information you can get online to learn all these different styles is players are just eating this up. And you see these guys on YouTube playing all these different genres, and they're playing it extremely well. So they need as much flexibility as possible out of their gear. So we wanted to make these speakers as versatile as possible. We knew they weren't going to, people were going to say, well, alnico purists may not respond to them because it's not, a traditional alnico and 55 hertz or whatever. But we knew that there was this whole other emerging group of players that have really been challenging the instrument over the past decade that are looking for something different and need it to be versatile. So I think we just got lucky a little bit. I mean, Dean's been doing this a long time. He is a speaker whisperer. He doesn't play guitar, but he knows how to build a driver, and he's built speakers for everyone from Neil Young, Tom Petty to Jeff Loomis. He's tried some of our Amperian stuff and really liked them. And he's whether it's country or Americana or heavy metal, everything in between. I mean, he listens to the player, he listens to the artist, and he tries to bring what they hear in their head to life in a component.
Yeah, well, that makes sense because this may not be fact or anything, but I think typically when we're talking about alnico speakers, it's sort of like, this is if you want throwback sound, then if you want classic sound, if you want to sound like Hendrix, if you want to sound like Jimmy Page, if you want to sound like Beck, then go down the list of some of the greats that played pre-ceramic kind of stuff. No, Tony's shaking his head. What am I missing?
Not Hendrix.
No, yeah, he was all pretty much ceramic.
G12H.
Okay. G12, that's right, G12H. So that's what I mean. I don't necessarily know the.
You don't know nothing.
Well,
no, it's interesting.
I'm feeling sheepish now.
No, but I think it's what you said was interesting because myself and the other two guys.
See, a good co-host saves his host when he steps in the big pile of doo-doo.
That's what I'm doing. So what you said is you had limited experience or no experience with the sound, if you want to call it that,
right,
of alnico, whereas the three of us all had a kind of a preconceived notion of what an alnico speaker should sound like.
Yeah.
And the VSOP does sound different. And in your case, it's perfect for the things that you're doing.
Yeah.
And you tested things the right way. I mean, we spent a limited time. We did the stuff here in the studio, but, actually putting it through your own rig with the pedals that you like and everything there, that I think you came to a very informed decision. And I think because maybe the other three of us had kind of this is what it's supposed to sound like.
Right.
And so we kind of gravitated towards, all that glitters is not gold.
Yeah. Right. Yes. That. Okay.
But there was a lot. I mean, when you're talking about, 50s, 60s, 70s, there was a lot of alnico being used in smaller sizes with, Utah, Oxford, CTS,
yeah, that's true.
These American companies. So it was a familiar sound. Just, tone chasing wasn't what it was then like it is today. So people just, is there a speaker in it? Does it work? Okay, fine, let's go.
Will it shock me when I sing into the microphone?
Exactly.
All right. Well, see, we all besides you two, me and everybody else might have just learned a little something there, that's what the show's about. So yes, I throw myself on the court and ask for forgiveness.
Yes.
To me, the way that I've always experienced the idea of an alnico speaker is that it's not going to have that the tight bottom end response that a lot of more modern speakers. This is my uninformed. Okay, before I played them, that's the way that I always thought them, because I hear any people that would talk about them are the people that gravitate towards all the classic style music, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I keep bringing up that bottom end part. So Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. And I mean, my experience with alnico is it's definitely mid-range heavy. In my 212, I have a C Gold, and then I also have a UK Greenback that's a 55 hertz model. So it's, I think I get a little more bottom end off of that.
Yeah.
In conjunction with the alnico speaker, and that, to me, that's a good combination.
Yeah. Well, and picking this one of the things that I did like about it, that I was pleasantly surprised, is that it did have I felt like it had a tighter bottom end than some of the other ones that we were experiencing.
Yeah.
It definitely does. I mean, when we were developing these, Sean Patton from Tyrant Tone was working with some artists, and they wanted something new. And I got a quad of these out to him, and he put them out with some of his artists. And his artists are, a lot of fuzz, low end, some, drop tunings. And some of these guys went on tour with them, and they loved them. They held up, and everything was present. There was no muddiness, no flubbing, and I was really surprised that they could handle artists with such an aggressive guitar voicing.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I think one of the other big things that I experienced specifically with this one was, and you mentioned before that there's a natural sort of harmonic. Now, if we can say harmonic might mean something just very, very specific. I keep trying to explain it. It just has that extra ness to it that is kind of hard to explain, the overtones and we mentioned sparkle. Now these are obviously in a as I mentioned in a Vox amp, which also kind of helps that along. What about the speaker creates that? Can you elaborate on that?
So you have the soft parts, right? So you have the cone, the dust cap, the voice coil, and the suspension. Those are all working together. They're working together to capture that energy, that information that's in the gap. And the gap is, I don't know if anybody's ever seen a speaker frame without the cone on, but if you're facing that basket without the cone, you'll see a circle, and it has a very, very thin gap around the pole piece, which is the center. So you have those soft parts connected to the basket. From the basket, you have the top plate, the magnet, and then the back plate. The back plate has that center piece, and around that center piece is the gap. And the tighter tolerance that gap, the more efficient the speaker is in terms of not allowing any of that energy that goes into the gap to get wasted. So this design, our tolerances are really tight, and we're able to capture all of that energy, all of that information, and push it through the cone and get all that harmonic complexity. A lot of even order harmonics and overtones, like you said, are coming through that driver.
Interesting. Tony, do you have anything to add to that at all?
No, but I was going to ask, we've talked an awful lot about the VSOP.
Yeah. You have other speakers.
Another alnico that is very interesting, the Noble 65,
yes,
which obviously has higher power rating. But what other differences are there between the two?
That's a lead spec cone. That's going to be a 75 hertz cone, and it's so the power rating with electric guitar drivers is primarily dictated by that voice coil material. Mm-hmm. So on the VSOP, it's a treated paper, and those typically top out around 30-35 watts. The Noble is using Nomex. It's a higher temp material, and it's also more rigid. So you're going to get more headroom out of it. It's still going to break up, but you're going to be able to hit it harder before it does, as opposed to a 30-watt paper coil driver.
Got it.
Same magnet size, same efficiency, but because of that voice coil, you're going to be able to get much more power out of it, and more power, also alters the voicing a little bit because you're really able to push it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and you did provide the Noble 65 to us, and
yes,
we put that in, and we just realized this clearly needs more juice from the amp than we were, not that we were willing to give, but we just said, well, if we're playing this, trying to figure out what goes best with this particular amp and who would be using this particular amp, it being a single speaker and not the dual, the 2x12 classic AC30, there was somebody who's going to buy that single one is looking for something that is maybe not as much just oomph as the 212, and probably a little bit more versatile. So putting that in the mix with the other speakers that could sit in that slightly lower volume, versatile range, we didn't feature that one. We talked about that, offline, but so we weren't really able to give that one. I guess it's due under the sun.
Sure. And sometimes that's just how it is. Not everything is going to pair well with what you're trying to achieve.
That's
so
why there's so many
there's
speakers.
so many. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And with the that really vibrant voicing of Vox AC has, it makes sense that the VSOP would kind of complement that while bringing out other attributes maybe the AC30 isn't known for.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about, we've spoken quite a bit about the VSOP. I really like that speaker. I definitely you get thumbs up all over the place for me for that. And in fact, I mentioned I've got that AC30 212 with 2 greenbacks in it. And what I am going to do, and this is, I think this is what a lot of people do, is put one of the VSOPs in, replace one of those greenbacks, so I have that merged sound, which is quite lovely because I did run those at home in an ABY box, and the two different. I mean, whoa, those are completely different sounding situations.
Yeah,
but when you merge it, it's like, oh, golly, that sounds absolutely so lush and punchy and just, it was like that. I want that. I want that. So, is that's something that's pretty common with people doing the 212s. Tony, you want to elaborate? You do that as well.
I think a lot of people do because it's kind of the best of both worlds, especially if you need a little extra power handling. If you have, a lesser powered, like some people used to do that a lot with put a blue in and like a greenback, and when some of the other higher power speakers came out, it wasn't quite as necessary, but the overall sound out of each individual speaker and then blended together in a single cabinet, it just makes a world of difference.
And how much, this is for both of you guys, if somebody who maybe isn't as experienced looking into this would say, yeah, but a greenback is, 25 watts? 20?
Yeah.
25 watts.
A greenback and a blue, they both have similar power handling, even though they rate the blue as 15 watts.
Right.
It's a treated paper former. So that 15 watts is basically the manufacturer saying, this is where we think it sounds the best. So, consumers don't really know about power handling when it comes to different types of voice coil material. So it's not, so they can just say, all right, we're going to go treat this as a 15 watt speaker.
Right.
But technically it can handle up to, 25, 30 watts.
Right. And the VSOP is 30 watts. So, if you're looking at the difference between those two, that's not something necessarily to worry about.
No, not at all. And if you're mixing, let's say one speaker is 30 watts, the other is 50 watts in a 212, just treat it like the cabinet is 60 watts. Just double the wattage of the lowest rated speaker.
Well, that's a good measure. Yeah,
and you'll be fine.
Got it. It's like if one leg's longer than the other. It doesn't matter.
Get her thicker heel.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, while we're talking about the Amperian line, you have several other speakers there. I mean, I know we spent a lot of time on the VSOP because I did want to talk to you specifically about that one, since that's the one that sort of rose to the top for us, for me. Anyways, and you have quite a few others here. Do you want to talk about those at all?
Sure. We got the Revolution series. That's our lead spec, and again, the goal was versatility. So it's the soft parts are identical. The only difference is the magnet size, and they're vented as well. So typically, when you add a vent on a magnet, it's really in place for thermal relief, for temperature regulation. But when doing creating these prototypes and evaluating, there was a slight difference. That there was something about the vented magnet drivers that just sounded better. They sound a little bit fuller. They just had a little bit more movement, and it must be something with having that channel of air to let that cone move a bit more freely in our motor structure, and it was audible. So we went with vented magnets on all of our ceramics so far. So the Revolution is kind of our Swiss Army knife. I mean, it can do everything really effectively. If you're playing down-tuned metal, or if you're doing some of the more detail-oriented, Nashville twang stuff and chicken picking. It is just a really robust, full sounding driver that can pretty much handle anything you throw at it, and sounds great in open back or closed back cabinets.
Now, you mentioned that vent.
Yes.
That's not something that I can recall seeing on speakers. I don't.
It's not new. Let's see, what was the classic Lead 80 when that first came out? That had a vented magnet.
Okay.
Sometime, I don't know if it was in the 80s, late 80s. They switched to a traditional motor structure. But some drivers have had them. That's definitely not a new thing. Not as common as I think it was in the 70s and 80s, but we had the ability to try it, and we did, and it really ended up complementing those designs,
right,
bringing out a little bit more.
And that's more of a British tone speaker, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those are everything in the Amperian line uses Kurt Mueller cones. They're the standard for a British voiced product, and we use them across the line.
Got it. Now, you said that this is sort of like that's your, I guess, shall we say, flagship of the Amperian?
Of the ceramics? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean the VSOP with the alnico, and then the Revolution for
the 60s. So, if somebody was saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about replacing my speakers, and I was going to go for, XYZ brand," what comparatively, what would they be expecting from this? Like, would this replace what kind of other speaker?
If you are a vintage 30 guy and you really want to try something different, and the creambacks aren't working for you, this is going to be the speaker. It gives you everything those drivers do. The breakup is different. It's a very smooth breakup. It's much more balanced, and the low end and top end they just hit the ear in a really nice way.
Got it. Well, that's what I would be wanting to hear if I was listening to this. Like, yeah. Tell me what to replace here. Yeah. So, well, this is it's cool that that these sit outside of the WGS main line, because I think it does help better understand some of the nuances that these have, that as opposed to just being like, hey, here's another speaker within the WGS line, which is fantastic. And I have some of those. I know Tony does. Loads of people have those.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I approached you, I was actually, I was like, hey, so I'm looking at this, I'm thinking maybe this, and you go, actually, I'd like to send you the Amperian stuff. And I was like, what's that? So it was like, wow, this whole new speaker world opened up just from that call.
COVID made it difficult to really launch a new line, and then all the economic recovery after that, and we're like anybody else. We have we have a payroll, we have obligations to our OEM customers, and we have to be mindful of our resources. So it was really slow going getting these out, but when we did sample them, I mean, there was just a lot of buzz and word of mouth, and people really seemed to respond in the way we were hoping when they finally got to hear them and play them and record with them. So I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to really help get that word out, and please email me at john@amperian.com and hit me with all your questions, and let's get you some drivers. We really believe in this line, and we think it can do anything and everything you guys throw at it. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth re-mentioning again, especially in the the throes of 25. These are Amperian and WGS made right here in the USA.
Yep, in Paducah, Kentucky, 2 hours west of Nashville.
One of these days, Tony and I are going to stop in there. We keep saying that.
Keep threatening.
I know.
Why not?
I don't know.
I'm going to bring a big trailer. Todd will distract, and I'll be backing up to the...
Let me show you the scar I got while I was skateboarding. Exactly. Well, John, this is your episode. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you would like to communicate at all about any of this?
No, we got some new stuff in the works. We're open to hearing your feedback. We definitely want to cater to the guitar community. We're not building these things for ourselves. We want to contribute to the creativity you guys have and what you want to hear. So please let me know.
Awesome.
And you said you got you're working on some of the neodymium versions of something like this. Yeah,
we're going to come out with 2 models, and it'll be the same deal: a lead spec and a 55 hertz. So,
okay.
Hopefully by fall we'll be able to release those. But we think they'll be just as good as everything else in the line.
And is WGS / Amperian going to be at NAMM this year?
Unfortunately, no. We are we're going to invest in other areas to try to keep brand awareness up and get these products in the hands of players that just want to improve their tone and be inspired.
Sounds good. Are you going to be there?
No, I just decided last week.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. I got people asking me this week. I think I've done it like 16, 17 times. It's. I think this is a good year to bow out.
Sounds good.
We'll see. Are you going to be there?
I am going to be there. Yeah. So I wasn't. But when the CEO says, "Hey, we'd like to see you there," I'm like, "Okay."
Are you bringing Tony? Tony, you going to be there?
I am not going to be there this year.
Okay.
No, but I think the next year I definitely have it on the books to go. But our good friend Rob. Moanin' Rob is going to be there with Todd.
Tony's got a bum knee, and rolling around in a golf cart is just not going to work out there.
Yeah, but we could get a wheelchair, and then if we went to Disneyland, we can get right to the front.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You got priority.
But Tony, you would never do that because you're an upstanding citizen.
I am an upstanding citizen and would never take advantage of such
antics. See terms and conditions.
Hey, bum knee's a bum knee.
Yeah, indeed. Well, okay. Thank you, John. I really appreciate you telling us more about this. It's given me personally, as an owner of one of these speakers, a lot more information to better understand why the heck I like it, which is cool.
All right, fantastic.
And if you want to make it sound really good, you get a razor blade and you cut 4 slits in it.
There you go.
Get rid of all those stupid pedals.
That's homemade overdrive.
Hey. All right. Tony, why don't you bring us on home with the this thing here?
That's right, Todd, because at this point of the show is a little game we play called would you rather?
Okay.
This week's Would You Rather is brought to us by our good friend, Bob Crouch. It's an interesting one, I tell you. So here's the premise. You've been hired as a temporary guitarist for the band Gwar.
Nice.
You have two of the band's touring guitars to choose from. Each one has an identical backup, so you can't choose both as a third option.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you were going to do that. I know.
Bang old shucks.
Yeah, Bob knows your little antics.
Mm-hmm.
Guitar number 1 is a flying V that fires green slime out of the headstock into the crowd. Guitar number 2 is a BC Rich Warlock that fires old school Ace Frehley style rockets out of the headstock. Which would you rather?
Okay, Tanya.
I think I'm going with the V with the green slime because the rockets and the flames and stuff have already been done. But the green slime, that's cool.
Okay.
Green slime.
All right. So it's a V with the green slime.
Yes.
Or
a warlock that fires rockets.
Okay. Out of the headstock.
Out of the headstock.
Okay. John?
Yeah, I gotta go green slime. It sounds like much more fun, and I'm a danger to myself. I'll light myself on fire with that whole rocket.
Yeah.
That's a liability.
Yeah, you won't get burnt with green slime. That's for sure.
No.
I gotta go with a V because it's a V.
Uh-huh.
If nothing else, I mean, if it shot like nerd clusters out of it, somebody needs to invent that.
Ooh. Or how about Hershey
Worst
Kisses?
thing on earth for you, but they're so good.
How about Hershey Kisses?
No, that's too nice.
That's too nice.
Tanya,
Yes?
we got something to do.
Oh, that's right. At this point of the show, there's a special group of people we love to thank. These are our executive producers. Now, an executive producer helps make this show possible. How do you become one? You head over to patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs. Check out a couple different levels in which you can participate, become a friend, a sponsor, a hero of the podcast. Each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts and opportunities to win special prizes. Oh, yes, special prizes.
Indeed.
I know all about those. But in addition to that, there's one thing more. Todd, what would that be? Or, in everyday terminology, you get to have your name read on the thing. That's what he tried to say. So special thanks to these executive producers: John Sebastian, Trevor Ellenberg, Cameron Pampas, James Bell, Brett Hogarth, Don Kloss, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology. What? Rusty Sneeden, Vader and Pedals, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Richard Kendall, James White, Justin Jones, John Esterly from Rebuzzer Effects, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Darren Gregory, Tom Brazen, Eric Merrow, Plutone, and Michael Davenport.
Yes.
Oh, but wait, there's more. Because there's a special group of executive producers. We call them our Grand Poobahs. These are the creme de la creme, the top of the heap, the A-number ones, and they wear a fez upon their head whilst listening to the podcast. So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs: Anthony Gemalero, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Bob Crouch. Hey, he just gave us the thing.
Thanks.
Brian Robinson, Cody Foster, David Kaminga, David Tyndall, Enrico Fernando, Fox Hill Studio, Hex Matos, James Pennington, John Williams, LSJ Music Company, Matt Hart, Michael Van Zant, Michio Murakishi, Moon Guitars, Paul Von Eppinger, Sam Jett, Steve Keys, Tyler, Casey Rhines, Zach Oswald from Brandon Wound Pickups, Pedro Vasquez, Gregory Randall, and Mike Nationale.
Yes. Thank you all so very much. Heading into 2025, we want your support. We need your support to keep it rolling. If you've been on the fence, make this the year that you get off that fence.
Todd-
Jump in the pig pen with us.
Todd needs another VSOP.
Everyone does. Yes.
Yeah. To be clear, that's not how this works. You boob. It does keep the wheels going. This is yes.
I think people don't realize what goes into this because there's your time. There's, we've got rental space here. We've got all kinds of things.
We got shipping stuff.
And we got giveaways.
all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into this, and your support is greatly appreciated.
Indeed.
And if you're on the fence, just do it.
Yes.
Just do it. It's
Get in the mud.
It's the right thing to do.
John Sanchez, thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
Thank
We
you.
truly
Really
appreciate it. We
appreciate it.
love talking with you.
Yeah, same here. Thank you again.
You will not be invited again, so really soak
Gotta make
this
the
up.
most of it right
Soak
now.
it up, Red.
We can't afford another velvet jacket.
We'll have you on anytime. You know that.
Fantastic.
Now, where can people find you and all the things that you are, telling us about?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got WGSUSA.com, allpedal.com, and Amperian.com. AMPERIAN.
Perfect.
And feel free to email me at either john@WGSUSA.com or john@allpedal or john@Amperian.com.
Excellent.
And we are going to offer a coupon code for listeners of this show. So we will,
Hey now.
I'll take that.
Hey
we'll give
now.
you 10% off Amperian, and we will post that coupon code when Todd and Tony are ready to post the show. So
Awesome. So upon listening to this, you will have access to 10% off the Amperian speakers.
yes.
Wow.
Yep.
That's super cool. Thank you so much. That is incredibly
You're very
generous of
welcome.
you. John, what is that magic code for this coupon?
We will do Guitar Knobs 10. One word.
All right, with the number 10. Guitar
Yes,
Knobs 10. And you're going to
Yes.
get your 10% off.
Nice.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Okay.
Now Todd can afford his VSOP.
How long is this going to go for?
We'll do it through the month of January.
January. All right, so get on your bicycles, folks. So we got a couple weeks worth of this. So don't wait. All right. Tony,
Yes.
where can people find you?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out the stuff that I do. What do? I make custom pick guards. How do you get one? Shoot me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do. I will take very good care of you. It's your opportunity to make your guitar even more yours.
Yeah.
Todd,
Yes.
how can people get a hold of you?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram at Guitar Knobs. We would love to hear from you. Tell us what you got from Santa Claus. Tell us what you hate about Tony or love about Tony. Or find a difference in me. I don't know. We just want to talk to you guys out there, and we love it when we get messages. We get them all the time, and it is just an absolute pile of cherries on top of our little orange cake here. Ooh. So you can do that. You can also be sure and go check out on YouTube the Vox Speaker Shootout. Mm-hmm. I'm pleased with the way that it came out. I learned a whole lot, and I got a great exposure to the alnico line, and hopefully you will find something that you like on there too. Maybe even an Amperian speaker that you can save 10% off. I'm just saying. And I think that's about it. We'll just wrap this baby up, okay? Have a fantastic Guitar Week. Subscribe!
Yeah. The 16 gets it to the furthest wind on the transformer, so even if it's variable. So
Okay. I will check it. I'm just glassed over on that one. Tony's mad because we lost a couple of funny bits on the front end. Because he just remembered to hit the record button.
I should not have to remember to hit the record button. I should never have to.
You have one job, Tony. And it's to do all these things. Yes.
Oh, my God.
Indeed.
If you hear a loud bang and then Todd stops talking, you'll know
I'm pretty sure it's 8s. It's just got 2 speakers in it, and it's a AC30.
Yeah, but it's British.
That is British, so it's probably like 22.
You know, Mesa uses. Wow. It's been a while since I've done this. Much more nerve-wracking than I remember.
Like, I need to remind myself to keep more distance between the next one. Oregon. Yeah, I've never said Oregon.
I've always said Oregon.
Really?
Yeah. I say it like it's spelled.
It's Oregon. That's how I say it. Oregon.
Yeah,
Oregon.
There's no E at the end. Yeah, see? I broke you right there. Go back to your shed. All right. And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.